Ludus, Vulpes.
Welcome to Ludus Vulpes. My name's Kirsty,
I'm Phil.
and today we're here running through our game, Pete's Place.
Oh yeah, our next release, very exciting, Pete's Place. That's place like the fish, not like the place.
Featuring artwork from the wonderful Catherine Davis Art.
Again, because Catherine's amazing and we really like featuring her artwork.
It's a little bit different this time because it is her collage art.
Yeah, paper collage, it's amazing. Hopefully we'll give you a little bit of a, this is the card backs, so have a look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So, Pete's Place. Have you ever wanted to own a seaside restaurant?
Always.
Have you ever thought about when that season starts, you're going to have people flooding through your doors wanting fish and chips and mushy peas and all kinds of things? That's exciting, right?
Yes.
And
Although I don't want to do the washing up.
No, and no one really wants to do washing up. That's what dishwashers are designed for. Now, the other thing is, have you ever noticed that at the British seaside resorts, you see a lot of hungry seagulls flying away with people's meals?
I have actually witnessed someone's steak get stolen by a seagull once.
So, in Pete's Place, you're opening your fish and chip restaurant for the summer season, and you're going to have a flock of diners coming in, and you're going to try to be serving to them the biggest meals humanly possible. The bigger the meal, the more points it's going to be worth at the end of the game. But beware, because greedy seagulls will attempt to steal food from your restaurant, and if there's no spare food in your restaurant, they're going to be stealing it from you. So, in a game of Pete's Place, everyone starts with a hand of 6 cards. And on your turn, you're going to be able to do one of 3 things. You're going to either be able to play an action card, and we'll go through those in a minute. You'll be able to play a meal, which can be between 1 to 6 food cards. There are 6 different food types, so you can play 1 to 6 food cards. They're going to be a meal. Or the other thing you can do is draw 3 cards and add them to your hand. After you've done your action, you're going to check your hand size, and you can only have 6 cards in your hand at the end of your round. And then play progresses around in a clockwise direction. It may change direction at certain points during the game. So, Kirsty, what should we start with?
I think we go with food cards.
Okay, so let's have a look at the food cards. Okay, so what you're seeing in front of you are the 6 different food cards. And we'll hopefully show them really clearly on this little tile at the top. So, we have got the sort of classic fish with a little wedge of lemon, because that's classy. You can serve that with any of the following accompaniments. There's mushy peas, which is a wonderful seaside accompaniment.
Obviously, classic chips.
Okay, and what goes better with chips?
Ooh, it's got to be gravy, surely.
It's got to be gravy.
Yep.
Now, Pete is a Cornish fisherman, and so therefore we also have to have a Cornish pasty available at that chippy.
It's a pasty.
It's a pasty.
Yeah. And you can also have, as an accompaniment with any of your food, a curry sauce.
There you go. So they're the food cards. And on your turn, you can serve as many of those from your hand as you want.
Single.
Double. I mean, it's the worst meal ever. But there you go.
And so on.
It doesn't matter what makes up the meal as long as it's different items per meal. And if you ever serve a meal with 6 items like this, you're going to get 30 points at the end of the game. That's massive points.
You can place them on top of each other, or you can spread them out in little sprays, however you want to do that's easiest for you to track your meals.
One thing about meals, once they're served, they can't be altered. So once you put them on the table, that's your meal
If
done.
that's your meal,
that's
it's
your
done.
meal, yeah.
And you can only ever have one of each piece of food in a meal. So I couldn't play 2 gravies to 1 plate.
No, it's too much gravy.
Too much gravy, apparently.
gravy.
There's no such thing as too much gravy.
Okay. So that's one of the things you can do. You can play a meal. You can also play an action card. And there are a few action cards available.
We have 6 different types of action card.
We do.
Of which 1 has 4 types.
4 variants. Yeah.
4 variants.
So let's talk about this one first. So these are seagull cards, and seagulls come in different flavours. They come in 1, 2, 3 or 4 seagull flavours.
No, they're not flavours. You don't eat the seagulls. Seagulls are not edible in this game.
So you'll note on this card, this seagull is flying away with one of those exciting pasties we saw earlier. And if you play a seagull card, what happens is the next person in turn order, so clockwise, or if the order is being reversed, it'll be anti-clockwise, will have to pay 1 food. And if they pay a food, the seagull leaves satisfied. 2 seagulls, you're going to have to pay 2 food.
3 seagulls.
You
You
have
got
to
it.
take
3
food.
food. And finally, 4 seagulls. Yep, that's right. 4 foods.
So you have ways of stealing food. Now, when food is being stolen, the first thing you can do is look into your hand of cards, and I'm just going to draw a little hand from here, and I go, actually, I can pay some food from my hand to fend that seagull
So
off.
if you had a 2 seagull played against you,
There you go, 2 food out of my
Done.
hand. Now that means my hand is slightly smaller for the start of my turn, but that's okay. I'll be able to top back up to 6 at the end of my turn, but not before I take my turn.
however, if you did not have the food or did not wish to get rid of the food, you could have done something different.
Yeah, the seagull, if you've served food to your diners outside, so you served a meal in the previous turn, the seagull can actually steal food from somebody's plate instead of from your hand, and you can discard those cards instead. So you have a choice, either from your hand or from a meal already served at the table. So that's how you fend off seagulls. You give them food, they go away. This is not necessarily the best thing to do because they get excited and they'll come back for
Exactly.
more.
However, there are other ways in which you can stop a seagull from attacking.
Yeah, let's go through some of the other action
So,
cards.
for example, you can scare away the seagull with a dog.
Yep,
And
dogs
we
scare
suggest
off
you get the
seagulls.
person to bark when they play the
Yep.
card. So, whoop!
Everyone should
every
woof
time.
when they play the dog card. Don't forget this, it's very important.
Yep.
The card doesn't work correctly without a woof.
Without the woof. And this scares off the card. So had the card been played here into the play area, the dog comes along, it's gone. Shoo!
Yep,
It flew away.
and
Had that not happened, move that to one side, another thing you can do is you can use a parasol which will bounce that seagull onto the next player.
yeah, if your restaurant has parasols, the seagulls will maybe aim for you in the first place, but they're going to move on to the next player in turn order.
Yep. So that would then bounce the attack from the first player onto the next player.
Yeah.
The last thing that you can do to stop a seagull is you can deception.
Yeah. If you look at the card art on this one, which is pretty cool, you got one seagull distracting Pete while another seagull steals his pasty. But in this case, we are the deception card basically cancels the last card played. That can be any card played, but
Yep.
there are definitely like preferences.
Yep. There are 2 other action cards which feature in the game. And the first one is this lovely little pinch card here.
See, Pete's having a bad time again. A crab has pinched his toe.
Yep.
And the pinch card allows you to steal a card from somebody else's hand and add it to your own.
Yes, so you get to choose the player and you steal a card from their hand and add it to yours.
Yeah, all at random.
Then the last one, which is where this token comes in, is the storm. Now we know the lovely British summer, seaside weather
Yep,
is
rain,
not guaranteed.
storm.
Yes.
Clouds in the sky. And playing Storm allows you to change the direction. So it will go, as you're the active player, it will move on to the person on the opposite side that you were expecting to play it to. So it just changes direction, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
Just allows you to target somebody else for a change instead of targeting always the person in the clockwise direction. So there are action cards. And that kind of constitutes a game of Pete's Place, is using these action cards to protect your food, to serve as much food as you can, to protect your food, and maybe just disrupt your opponents as you play the game. So how does a game of Pete's Place end? Well, this draw pile will eventually run out. So don't forget, at the end of your turn, you will always check to see if you've got 6 cards, either top up to 6 cards, or if you have more than 6, you'll discard down to 6 cards. You're never going to put the discard pile back into the draw pile.
No.
Once this draw pile is empty, it's then the game end is triggered when one person empties all cards from the hand, and then no matter what other cards people have got in their hand, that ends the game on that person's turn. There is not a take one more go, etc., etc. So you will end as soon as one person empties their hand and can no longer refill them. At which point you're going to start to score the plates of food that are being served in front of you.
Points vary from 1 point for a piece of
For
food
a single item.
up to 30 points for a perfect 6 set.
Yep. It's highly hard, it's quite challenging to get a perfect 6 set in the base game because there are a limited amount of, like some of the resources become slightly more scarce as you go down the orders. So
Yeah.
chips are the most common and curry sauce is fairly scarce. I think there's only 4 of those in the
Yeah.
entire deck. So getting a full 6 is quite tricky and you're going to have to manage your hand quite carefully to get 2 6. And while you're managing your hand, people are playing seagulls at you.
Yes. That's
so-
great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's wonderful. So at the end of that, you're going to total up your scores, and you've got 2 choices. Then you can declare one person the winner based on
Yeah,
the highest score.
On the short game.
We also have a long variant. The long variant means that you'll play up to 50 points,
Yep.
and you'll play a number of hands, a number of rounds, until one of you achieves 50 points. At which point, the person with the high score above 50 will be declared the winner. So
Yeah.
2 people might get to over 50 in the same turn. The person with the highest over 50 will win. So that's the 2 ways of playing Pete's Place in standard variant. We also have 2 exciting variants of play that you can work with. Kirsty.
We do. So we have the nobody can play 2 meals the same variant.
Yeah.
Which the name has completely lost my mind. And so this one is individual players. So for example, if I was playing now, if I played chips, peas and pasty, I could no longer play peas, chips and pasty again. Other players can, but I cannot. What I can do, however, is play these 3 items of food,
With any
but
one of the
with
other
a
4.
gravy, or 2 items of those with one of those removed.
Yeah.
But you can never repeat the same plate twice.
All the meals you serve must be unique
Yes.
to your diners,
Yeah.
not to any other player's
No,
diners.
no.
It makes the game slightly more challenging, slightly more interesting, and it's one to step up to when you're good and ready to do so. And then we have one other variant, which is kind of a power-up variant.
Yeah, so this one is the like double your luck variant, I think
Yeah.
is how we've described it. And this is whereby there are certain cards, so not Storm and not Deception, but the rest of the remaining
Action cards.
cards can be double played. So, Phil, over to you.
Okay, so you can play 2 identical cards. It only really matters with the Seagull cards that are defined as identical, but you can't play a Seagull 1
For
and
example, there
you
you
can't
go.
play a Seagull 1 and a Seagull 2. You'd have to play a Seagull 2, 2 Seagull 2s or 2 Seagull 1s.
You've got a Seagull
Or
3.
in this instance, a Seagull 2 Seagull 3s. I can play those as one card. Now, that's important for the purpose of Deception, because Deception cancels the last card played. So I play 2 cards as one. But because I'm doubling up my power, instead of that being targeted at the person next in turn order, so normally clockwise at the start of the game, might be anti-clockwise, I can now pick who I target with my seagulls. So I can choose anyone at the table because I've doubled my power on my seagull card. After that, all of the sequences remain the same. So if someone were to play Parasol, that would bounce that person onto the next in order. But there are other opportunities with double ups. So while Kirsty's finding me my double pinch card,
Yep.
I will talk about double dog. So as you know, the dog scares off a seagull,
Okay.
which is great. And double dog also scares off a seagull, but double dog is greedy. Double dog gets very excited. Double dog will scare off a seagull card, but then double dog will go and eat something from one of your competitors' plates. So you'll play double dog, it will scare off a seagull that was aimed at you, and if you want to be really mean, you can then go and steal something off the plate of the person that sent the seagulls after you.
Yes.
So that's double dog. Double dog scares off a seagull
And consumes a piece of food off
Yeah.
a plate. It's important to note that that food does not go to that player's plate or hand. It gets discarded from the game.
Yeah. Speaking of which, let's go on to double pinch. So, normal pinch allows you to steal a card randomly from somebody's hand and add it to your own hand. When you play double pinch, and we power up with double pinch, just show that. Once again, double pinch is a single card, so Deception could cancel both cards, both instances there. But double pinch allows you to steal a card from somebody's plate, and that cheeky crab will carry that piece of food over and add it to one of your diner's plates, which can be a great way of getting to a full 6 meal. It's the
Yep.
only way, double pinch is the only way of adding to a meal
Yep.
that's already been served. So that's double pinch. And double parasol allows you, normal parasol bounces your a seagull card played onto you to the next person in sequence. Double parasol allows you to aim those seagulls at another player. So you can bounce them
You're
straight back.
angling your parasol.
You can bounce them straight back, or you can decide who you think's winning the game and aim those seagulls at them. So normal variant, all single cards, and play whatever meals you want, and then you add in the variants you prefer to play with, and you can do the double up game, which is fantastic and adds real interesting strategic depth or tactical depth to the game. And you can also play the exclusive meals where no one in your diner will eat the same plate of food. So
Picky,
there you go.
picky
They are
people.
picky diners. And Pete's Place starts really simply. You pick the starting player, everyone gets 6 cards, and you just start playing cards and then drawing cards back until this deck runs out. So Pete's Place is a game that is really straightforward to learn, quick to learn, easy to play, and the variants just add a little bit more replayability and a little bit more interest as you get through the game.
Yeah.
It is worth noting that towards the end of the game, if people have only got cards that they can just play to the centre, then they might have to just discard cards on their turn rather than playing an action card. Really important to manage your hand so that towards the end of the game, you've got things you can do on every turn. So that is Pete's Place, with wonderful collage art and exciting and interesting card play just to keep you going.